Welcome back to another episode of The Unpopular Opinion Becoming Popular. My name is Yana the Heretic, and this transit I am going to discuss is almost at the very end of our quarter of duality, the end of looking at our relationships in a very black and white manner. And we are finishing up in the archetype of Minerva, the Roman goddess, the one that thinks and acts on her intuition and is a leader for that reason. We've been experiencing a lot of splenic gates at the end of this quarter, and the splenic gates all have fears. And this gate is the gate of the game player, gate 28 in the I Ching hexagram wheel, and it is called the Preponderance of the Great. And you're like, preponderance, like, what is that? It's just the accumulation of something of value, something that matters, a person that matters in this universe. And the gate of the game player is all about risk. It's about taking a risk. These people need to take a risk in order to feel alive, to feel something, because they fear death. And they run from death. They almost, go left at an instant when they see death approaching around the corner. They go, left or right away. You have to choose in the now, because you could potentially end it all. Everything could end, It sounds so extreme, right? And that's how it feels for them. They're always jumping into something, and it is from the basis of intuition. And obviously, not everything is always great, but a lot of these beings who have this gate are really great in stature. They have this strength, whether it's internal or they look big or they look bold or strong in some way. And that is why life always gives them struggle. They either see something as a struggle that they create themselves, or they are literally attracting trouble and struggle into their life because they are who they are. They look and appear fierce in some way. They look like they are playing the game. They are super highly individual beings. This is in the knowing circuit, and playing games is all about strategy. So this is the strategy that the intuition provides. And I like to think of these people being similar to the Knights Templar. And that is because they are a unit that belongs to no one. And the king had hired them to do his bidding, and greatly was mistaken at the end, because they don't do anybody's bidding. They have their own agenda, and they're going to play the game, but you're never going to know, really, whose side they're on. It's really all about where do they get out on top. It's playing this game to be at the top. And it saves their life. It is the YOLO of life. It is, you know, you only live once, you know, and the fear, it's almost like the risk is a mindless step, because if you don't think about it, then, you know, you may not even notice your death. And that would be great, you know, maybe you take a risk, maybe you fall. It's instant death. So it's more so trying to get ahead of the curve. And it's the double agent or the triple agent, right? And this is a fear of dying without a legacy. In a lot of fairy tales, we see these types that are the hero, you know, or the individual that traverses on a quest to have vengeance on somebody that has obstructed them or obstructed their path or had killed their father. You know, it's vengeance, and they're always feeling that way, that there's always a quest, there's always a struggle, and they literally attract it. And that's why they become strong, and that is why they become the great. They become reliable because they have been through all these quests, these difficulties, this struggle. You know, that's why a lot of these heroes are big and strong, and, you know, they know how to fight. They know, well, even if they don't know how to fight, this isn't exactly gate 38, which is the harmonic, which is the gate of the fighter in opposition. They know how to play the game, and that could be a trickster as well. So it doesn't mean that they're strong just in physicality, but more so that they're strong in their wit, and it is their intuition that guides their wit. So together they do create the channel of struggle, both the fighter and the game player. And the harmonic really adds meaning to the 28. It adds meaning for why they play the game. You know, is there a heroine, you know, at the end of the journey? Is there a princess to save? Is there, you know, potential for getting something that they've lost? Or gaining a power or a skill. So there is a potential for meaning when there is gate 38 present. And these are the natural born fighters, the ones that have the channel of struggle. They are always on a tumultuous quest. They have this turmoil that they are wearing upon them, and it does make them the leader. It sounds very hard to be this person, and it is. And they're always making it, though. You know, you see these people in your life and you're like, damn, like that all happened to you. That's horrible. I could never withstand that. And you know, if you don't have the gate 28, you're probably not supposed to withstand it. So this looming dark cloud is not for everyone. You know, this fear of not leaving behind the legacy, and you're always fighting for worth or something that is worthy. Because that is the most difficult thing, is dying without a purpose, without meaning. These people are extremely stubborn because they're individual. They have fought their own fight. So it's really hard to tell them to go in the direction that you think they should go, because they're going to most likely say, no, fuck you. So take it from me, I am dating one. So yeah, it is refreshing in that way as well, though, because as a person that likes to serve, it's nice to see somebody figure it out in their own way and do their own work, really. These are warriors, and they have a lot of fire, and this fire emanates around them, and that is why it is so very much attracting a lot of weird things into their fields that they have to fight and ward off. They have to literally go through hardship to know how to protect themselves. This is extremely yang at the center. And this is also, to be great, you have to earn it. And you have to be able to jump away from the unexpected, or jump, into the right place when the unexpected happens. You have to act on these things. And that is why it's on the cross of the unexpected, because these people are great for being able to deal with things right when they happen. They jump out of the way, or they handle things. They slay the dragon. And there is a moment in this world, since we don't really have dragons to slay, this could be a very mental thing where you second guess yourself. You start to think, why, did this happen to me? And then when it gets into that mind field, whenever a splenic gate gets up to the mind, since it's not directly hooked up to that, it's not mental intuition, and it's not supposed to be mental intuition. But there is a moment of just thinking like, man, is it because I didn't, bless this food that I got sick? Or, did I really step on that crack and it broke my mother's back or something? You start to wonder why these struggles happen. And realistically, if you see it from the lens of you building strength and resilience, then things do soften, instead of having to pinpoint a reason of why these things occur to you. So don't get caught up in that personal crisis. And I know that this transit was around October 24th, and it ended on the 30th. So was there a crisis for you? Did you take a really good, juicy risk? I'm super interested in what, game presented itself to you, or what could be a game that you weren't aware of. If you carry this gate, there is moral and physical crisis, and it follows you around because you wonder and things come to you. So struggle follows them of their own volition or from outside forces. So what do you fight for? What was the reason? We had a ton of integration channels coming through. We had a lot of intuitive channels coming through. Perhaps you can feel enhanced, you know, in the veil during this time, because it was Samhain. I hope you guys all enjoyed your spooky season. I wish it could be forever, honestly. I already miss it. You know, I'm gonna cherish the pumpkin soup I have in my fridge, honestly. I've had to like ward off raccoons, you know, because I like threw pumpkin scraps outside. So don't, that's my fight, really. Like that's what I'm fighting for. It's just my cat. But yeah, we had a lot of intuitive channels coming through, a lot of splenic channels, a lot of power, a lot of love, self-love, charisma, awakening, perfected form, and the brainwave. We saw all of the intuitive channels, and we see them this week as well. And stay tuned for the next video to hear all about the last gate in Minerva. And I'm going to go into the questions of the week. If you have any questions, please ask them. I am super interested in your lives. If this feels like synchronistic in any way, if you feel this deep, this happened for you at this time, I would like to hear about it. Don't be shy. I don't bite because, you know, I can't physically. Who in your life seems to struggle the most? Have you noticed how much they have learned about life because of the constant opposing forces in their reality? What risks have you taken this transit? Where did you end up? Has it profited you in some way? Maybe you did something outside of the box that is not in the norm for you. You know, it's a good thing to play with these gates during these weeks when they're activated, but realistically they're not. If you don't have them, you don't have to identify with it forever, you know. What do you fight for? Is there a deeper meaning behind it? Or is it usually unconscious and you like to pick fights with just anyone? Access the benefit of that. So, you know, there are fights that you pick that are good for the soul, and then there's obvious ones that create turmoil for your life. Which one are you comfortable with? What are you going to choose? It is ultimately your choice and your path. How do you feel about death? Do you think you will naturally ease into it, or do you resist it and fantasize about immortality? That's a good question, the question of the ether of today. Everyone thinks about immortality. Where do you stand? Are you okay with death? And that is all, folks. I shall see you next video. I hope you enjoy this one, and please like, comment, share this to your friends. You know, human design is a valuable tool in your life that gives you more access to new communication capabilities, new language, new strength, and a new perspective. Please share. Thank you. And I will see you next week.